Richie B, the party master, on Up and Go.
The anniversary relating to Martin Luther King Jr. went recently, and I've been seeing a lot of quotations that he made in his time. Here's one that I'm fascinated with this morning, for some strange reason. Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself. Words of the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We greet you with love. We say good morning and welcome. Up and Go on the Bridge 99 FM. So, what is the score in that matchup last night in Barbados? Do you know? 30-0. Yeah, that's the score out of Barbados last night in the general elections, people. What's wrong with you? It was a landslide victory for Mia, as she's affectionately called, all across Barbados. Mia Motley has won, and don't tell me you didn't see that coming. I was looking at a report on the international portals, and one writer said Mia Motley, who shot to international fame during the COP26 climate talks and oversaw Barbados' break with the Queen last year, has won a second term as the Caribbean nation's prime minister. And the 56-year-old Barbados Labour Party won all 30 seats, up from 29 in 2018. And this was an election which is being said to have been marred by complaints that thousands of COVID-positive Bajans were being denied a vote. Well, Mia Motley, the same lady who recently installed singer Rihanna as an official national hero, is obviously having a good run. The Bajans were prepared to look past the fact that their tourism revenues have fallen by maybe some 90%, and all other issues that there might be in the country, and they have put her back in power. They have reinstalled her as prime minister, and she will be appointed by the president under the terms of the 2021 Constitution, and that will happen sometime soon. We understand that one of the major main Labour parties over there is going to be calling a press conference today. Not too sure what they will be saying, but as it is right now, last night's score was 30-0 in favor of Mia Motley, and she's going to be on her way to collecting that prime minister's salary of $101,588 per year. That's right. We say congratulations to Mia Motley. And it's time for WTF. What the fact? Ladies and gentlemen, these are facts that have been presented to me, and I'm sharing them with you. During pregnancy, a woman's brain shrinks. So I'm told. Now, according to a study published in the journal Nature Neuroscience in 2017, pregnant women had thinner cortical walls and less gray matter in their brains. In the cerebral cortex, particularly in areas that influence social cognition, where we process other people's feelings and nonverbal messages, we lose gray matter. In fact, this shrinkage increases the brain's ability to deal with social circumstances more quickly, notably when deciphering newborns' wants and emotions. So, as the story goes, according to the findings, the brain undergoes evolutionary changes during pregnancy that improve emotional and facial recognition, foster mother-infant bonding, and make it easier for a mother to understand her child's needs while also processing social stimuli more quickly. That is what we're picking up this morning inside of WTF. I know, Miss so. It's what the research indicates. A woman's brain shrinks during pregnancy. Those are I didn't hear what Richie said. Well, you sure want me to say that is what Richie said? Oh, a caller just said, that's why them miserable stuff. I don't know about that. That's another fact, if it is, that I don't have anything to do with. Okay, may I take myself from those comments? WTF is on at 7:25 every weekday morning right here on Up and Go with Richie B. We give you interesting, startling sometimes facts in WTF. What the fact? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, as you very well know, it's time for our proverb of the day. Here is today's proverb.
Wanty, can't get it, and get no wanty.
Okay, that's a very popular proverb. Wanty, can't get it, and get it, no wanty. I won't even bother to go into the spelling of wanty, for instance. But if I must, then it's WANTI. Wanty, can't get it, and get it, no wanty. First of all, the translation: he who wants it desperately cannot get it. He who get it easily does not want it or appreciate it. So that's the translation. Let me repeat the translation. He who wants it desperately cannot get it. He who get it easily does not want it or appreciate it. To the proverb, wanty, can't get it, and get it, no wanty. Now you want the explanation. That is always the tricky part. Here's the explanation to that Jamaican proverb. Be thankful for the blessings that come to you, always realizing that many of the things we take for granted are luxuries to others. Wanty, can't get it, and get it, no wanty. That is our Jamaican proverb. On a sporting note also, yesterday you might recall that we were bemoaning the unfortunate development in relation to Mona High School being kicked out of the Walker Cup finals. And, of course, their head coach was Mr. Craig Butler. And I tell you, it's just a sad development. The school, through its principal, is saying, hey, some genuine mistakes were made. Craig Butler is basically saying that he did not realize that the Walker Cup, as he puts it, was an extension of the Manning Cup. And he would definitely, he says, not knowingly play the two players who were red carded in their previous game, a Manning Cup quarterfinal against St. Andrew High School. And that is what caused the kerfuffle and their elimination from the Walker Cup. And, wow, I mean, history would have beckoned. It would have been a good look for Craig, a good look for Mona High School. And because of that unfortunate error, then they were booted from the Walker Cup, unfortunately. As it is now, he basically is saying, that is Craig Butler, that he no longer wants to coach schoolboy football. That is what he's putting out. The principal is trying to convince him to stay on at Mona High, but that is still up in the air. So we don't know exactly whether or not they'll be able to convince him to change his mind. But here's an interesting development out of that situation. To ease the disappointment of their Walker Cup disqualification, Craig Butler has revealed that he's going to be taking the Mona players on a 3-week tour of Spain and Portugal. You heard? Yes, that's what he plans to do. And it looks like plans are far advanced. Mona will go on to Portugal and Spain, and the efforts of these boys will not go unrewarded. Isn't that fantastic? He says they're going to be playing 4 top teams in Portugal and 4 top teams in Spain in February of this year. That's like next month. Okay? So that is a positive development. And we wish all the members of the team all the best. Maybe they'll get a good look into what football is like into those countries, and even You never can tell what might develop out of that exposure. There's a story that came out yesterday, which is also very, very sad. It's the story of an infant who died after being locked in a car. I think it was by her dad, who forgot that she was actually in the car. She's just about a little over a year old, and after several hours that she was discovered, as the father police officer was busy on his job, not remembering that his little baby daughter was in the vehicle. We understand she died due to loss of oxygen. Her brain was enlarged and she suffered kidney failure. It's a very, very sad story. In fact, I think both parents are police officers, and we also want to express our condolences to that family. Wow. Over in New York City, we heard recently of a fire on an apartment building, and news is emerging this morning that a very popular rapper who is from the Bronx, which is where the fire took place at this apartment complex, she has decided to make a sizable contribution. And the rapper that I'm talking about is none other than Cardi B. And she will be partnering with New York City Mayor Eric Adams and the Mayor's Fund to Advance NYC. And Cardi B is going to cover the burial costs of those who lost their lives in that Bronx fire, which killed 19 people. She herself is a native of the Bronx, and she has vowed to cover the expenses of the funerals to ease any financial burden that is being faced by the families at this time. The resilience of this city reflects every day New Yorkers who never turn their back on one another, said the mayor. In a statement, he said, "We are grateful to Cardi B, a real superstar, on and off the mic, for granting some critical financial relief to families of the victims." And so we say to Cardi B, well done. She said in a statement, that is Cardi B, said, "I'm extremely proud to be from the Bronx, and I have lots of family and friends who live and work there still. So when I heard about the fire and all of the victims, I knew I needed to do something to help," she said. And she said she cannot begin to imagine the pain and anguish that the families are going through at this time. Of course, a number of children also perished in that fire. And so this contribution from Cardi B is coming in at a very, very important and critical time. And ladies and gentlemen, we're seconds away from talking with a gentleman that we have not had the pleasure, the privilege of speaking with on in a forum like this for quite a while. But he's still in the game, and this morning we're pleased to have him join us. We say good morning to the one and only Red Rat. Good morning.
Brother, how are you, sir?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm seeing you in ages, but we have to give God the glory. We get to see you today.
Yeah, man. We give thanks. And we're living in a pandemic. So many things could have happened. We are alive and we give thanks. How have you been coping during this time, Red Rat?
As best as we can. I had a few family members that caught the virus and died. So, I know how serious this virus is. So I kind of make it a conscious effort to stay home if I have to.
Mm-hmm. Well, accept my condolences, bro. We've had similar experience, and man, it's just a rough time. But as far as your music is concerned, and as far as your career is concerned, what have you been able to do even amidst this pandemic?
The pandemic has allowed me to stay in the studio more longer and take more time in finishing all the projects that I have on my table. So it on that aspect it has done pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to rush to put out any music. I can take my time and do it how it was done back in the 90s, in Main Street days.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to hear what are some of these projects that you referred to a while ago. How much can you tell us this morning?
Basically, we doing of course we have our label Mobile Beats. So we released two jugglings last year during the pandemic. One called The Quarantine Rhythm, and the other one called Drop Top. And then, of course, we write and produce all different genres of music. So we still doing that aspect as well. So I'm constantly working, not allowing the pandemic to slow me down creatively.
Okay. One of the things that we must highlight is the fact that you're always looking out for new talent and giving opportunities to new and emerging talents.
Yes.
Have you continued on that path, and are you working with any other young entertainer at this time in that regard?
Absolutely, it's always been my my motto that I don't fight talent, I highlight talent. So as everybody know, I've been working with Pascali. She's also my partner in Mobile Beats. So I'm definitely focused 100% on her. I've worked with a lot of young artists out now, Bada General, Was. I reached out to a few of the youngsters when I'm producing new music. Some of them say them don't do juggling. Some of them haven't reached back. So I've always been the one to keep reaching out to these artists, because I like to, whatever knowledge I have that I got from the older folks before me, I would like to impart it on them as well.
Yeah. Red Rat, in the early days, when you recorded a song like Itsy Bitsy, you were only about a student in I think, high school at the time.
Yes, sir.
What was the mindset? Was it just to have some fun because you found out that you had the talent, or you were already thinking long term in terms of this music and entertainment industry?
Well, I've been, since I was 4 years old, know that music was a part of my future, because, I started at a very age of 4 years old playing. My brother used to play in City Heat Band, and they used to do all the cabaret shows on the North Coast, and I used to go with them, and one day I just went on the stage with them, and from that the bug has got into me. So growing up in prep school and then on to high school, me and my brothers would definitely be the entertainment for any event at the school. So I knew one day I eventually wanted to do this, as a career choice.
Any regrets whatsoever?
I don't live my life with regrets. I live my life knowing that any failure is a lesson learned, and it's up to me to know the lesson, understand the lesson, and grow from that lesson. So I never have regrets. The Lord put me here for a reason, and every step of the way is for that purpose.
What would you name among your most among your proudest moments in this industry, or even your most memorable achievements on this musical journey for Red Rat?
I have so many journeys and moments, but definitely receiving this plaque right here. It's for my first 20 million streams on Spotify for a record that we did, me and Pascali wrote. And it was released globally, also in Jamaica, and it wasn't received in Jamaica as well as it did across the world, but we give thanks for that same way. Just it kind of proved to me that music is not, it don't stop at Norman Manley International Airport if it's done correctly.
Yeah, and you're one of the artists who people should know has been able to sort of break into other markets, many other markets around the world outside of Jamaica, and have done particularly well. In fact, you started breaking down barriers from early in your career, Red Rat. I remember when you came out even with a song, with a video for the song, When I Live Nowhere. I thought that was just so awesome. And you remember that video?
Yeah, man, absolutely. That's actually was my first and only video from all the songs from 96.
Yeah.
So it was a great video. Raskasa and Kevin Lee was the director at the time, and it was one of those records that funny enough, it's a huge record in Jamaica, but it's not a big record anywhere else in the world. So, I mean, it was a great time. I went on the streets with the youth them from the streets, and there's scenes where I'm laying on the ground, as we put the passion into what we're doing, and
Yeah.
visually we want people to see exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah. If I should ask you, I mean, you have had so many hit songs. What do you consider sort of like a winning formula to generate a good and a lasting hit song? What are some of the pointers that you'd share with us this morning, even for the members of the younger generation who are either entering the business or about to enter the business?
Yeah, I actually was listening to an interview with Nigel Staff a couple of days ago, and he said it best. At the end of the day, any genre can win once they have the winning formula, and the winning formula is finding a song, which means you have a chorus, and there are certain structures that's needed to create a hit song, and it's the formula is there. It's not hard to find. Reach out to the ones that know and done it before, and you absolutely get the formula.
Do you miss performing? Because you are a man who, through the years, you have lit up many stage shows. I've had the pleasure of introducing you or watching you performing and literally wreck stages, so to speak, around the world. Do you miss those days?
Absolutely, Richie, because I feel most comfortable when I'm on stage. I like the reaction that I get from my fans once I step on that stage. They look to me knowing that I'm going to give them their money's worth, and definitely the reaction from the crowd when you're singing your songs and the energy that that they give back to you. It's definitely something that is missed in my life right now. So I can't wait for the place open up back so we can give
Do
the
what you
people
do best. Hey, listen, I can't forgive me for not remembering the title, but there's a song that you do where you're sort of mimicking the way people behave when they're trying to adapt to Jamaican culture. And not just the lyrics, but your delivery in terms of your performance is always awesome to watch, Red Rat.
I appreciate it, my brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So 22 is here. It's early days yet. You obviously have been putting in a lot of work. What do you have that's new that people should look out for that you're putting out now?
Well, the other day I was in the studio and Clevie from Steely and Clevie called me and said he's working on a project there. He's looking over the Gigi rhythm, and Gigi was always one of them rhythms that I thought that I had an opportunity to go on, and it did miss me, and I really was feeling away at the time. And then when he told me now that he's looking over the Gigi for Cassette Jones, I was like, yo, I definitely have to jump on that one, because life is a cycle. So music comes around, life comes back around, and I got the opportunity, and I think I delivered my one of my best songs yet. So
wow.
The song is called Alias Name. Is a vibe of what people know Red Rat as, but it's more grown Red Rat, and it's dancehall energy, man. Dancehall all the way, straight.
It's called Alias, right?
Alias Name, yeah, man.
All right, we're gonna give.
It's really speaking about things that we see some girls say them that this man is their man, but them only know him the alias name, them know him real name, them you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
No, that happens a lot.
I can tell you that very much.
Imagine all of these people who know you as Red Rat through these years and have never known or taken the time to even find out your correct name too.
Hello, yeah, man.
Yeah. Same thing for me, Richie B, and you ask them, what is the B for? They don't have a clue.
Hey, man, I'm Richie B.
All right, listen, we're going on to another feature, but I'm glad I got you this morning to share with us what is happening with Red Rat. It's been a while, but we see that you're still doing well, and I wish you continued success. I'm going to play this new song now and allow the listeners to hear it. Red Rat, stay strong, and I hope that 2020 will be a great year for you, bro.
Prosperous 2020 to you, my brother, and keep safe and wear your mask.
Give thanks. And you're going to hear some interesting stuff being discussed. as we do have with us this morning the public defender herself, Arlene Harrison Henry. Good morning, Ms. Lady Henry. How are you today?
I'm very good. And good morning to all the listeners.
You were missed last week, and so we're very happy to have you this week.
I so regret that I was not able to be on last week. So I too missed the show.
All right.
Yes.
But your deputy did an excellent job, and so we also say good morning to Mr. Herbert McKenzie. Is he with us?
Yes. Good morning.
Deputy Public Defender. Good morning, Mr. McKenzie. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Your burden will be a little lighter because you do have help in the presentation today.
Great.
Yes. Now, this morning we're looking at the topic mining in Jamaica's protected areas. Madam Public Defender, you want to get us started? Tell us what's on your mind in regards to this topic.
In relation to mine, I think the discussions have centered primarily around SML 173, which is mining in the cockpit country. Now, the boundaries of SML 173 over time, and I can recall 2 occasions, have been reduced. So there was an announcement earlier this month that a decision has been taken not to mine all of the 6,000 odd hectares, but to mine only 1,000 and something hectares, and that is within the cockpit country. Now, it is not within the cockpit country protected area, as we understand that area of protection, which is described in documents to have a particular type of limestone formation. So we continue to express concern about having mining in any part of the cockpit country. It displaces human beings from their homes, their agriculture, and of course, one of the very primary concerns about mining any part of cockpit country is to ensure that our water resources are protected and in no way impeded or degraded. And that is basically, we continue to watch. And of course, Richie B, you would know that there is a case in court now. And because of that, I don't want to go too much into this because we are before the court in relation to those issues. Mm-hmm. But, on a broader note, though, Jamaicans have to decide and give good consideration to whether or not mining, whether for bauxite or for, I think there's another thing that has become very popular, limestone, whether or not our small space, because, we are a small island and we're all of our geomorphical formations are interconnected, whether out in the west or whether out into the east. The way the island was formed in some areas, cockpit country in particular, we have these sinkholes where the water is purified and runs off at somewhere else. You have to protect water. In years to come, I predict that water will be more valuable than bauxite. And we have to be futuristic in how we plan to manage our limited resources, and limited only because we're on such a small rock.
Yeah.
I mean, we have multiplicity of talents and other industries that can be developed and protect these formations that have come with how Jamaica was developed.
Yes. Let me introduce this now to the Deputy Public Defender, Mr. McKenzie. So, as it relates to Noranda, for instance, and harping back on what the Public Defender said a while ago, they instead of being granted 8,335 hectares that was initially requested, they were offered 1,324 hectares of land to be mined. I have to ask you, would you consider this a win for the people of Jamaica?
It's not necessarily a win. What it does slightly is ameliorate the situation, but it doesn't solve the problem at all. The public defender is speaking to a far bigger issue than sheer size or size of land of which permission is granted or mining area. Much bigger issue. While ameliorating, doesn't solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't offer permanent relief. So let me give you my take on it.
Yes.
The 1,324 hectares is over 3,000 acres of land where the topsoil, rich bauxite, will be dug out, put on a ship, and sent elsewhere. Are we to say that after this is mined, there's no more mining? Or is this a situation where the authorities say, okay, since there's so much pushback, we're going to allow 1,324, say for the next 5 years. And after that is mined out, virtually Richie, dug out of our hillside, creating vast open pits. After we have done that over the next 5 years, then we look again and consider how much more hectares we're going to offer up for mining. So the problem is not solved. I mean, if people go to cockpit country, look at how the water filtrates through rocks down into massive sinkholes and then reappears sometime in another parish. We have to consider carefully how we protect that natural, very natural system of cleaning water and providing it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Man can't make that, you know. And there are many things in nature, like the reefs and the mangroves, that are designed to protect us. And we should not lightly interfere with those features that come naturally with God's earth.
I want us to take a look before time runs out at the situation in relation to the Dry Harbor Mountains, where Bengal Development Company, the entity, was granted a permit to mine in that area. And I understand now that they have also paid the $40 million performance bond that was outstanding to reinstate their license. I have to ask you, Madam Public Defender, how will that affect our country and our peoples here?
Again, Richie, you should know, and your listeners should know, that this is another matter before the court. So we want to speak guardedly. The whole issue of the payment of this bond had been outstanding, and they missed two deadlines. NRCA made another announcement because that appears to be how they communicate with Jamaica and stakeholders to say we accepted the money. We have a notion in our head which is highly misconceived to think that you can repair environmental damage. We see, for instance, out in Sansan, Portland, where to widen road, we are prepared to cut down a whole hillside. And we saw the rock, a massive boulder, that migrated off the hillside and broke into somebody's concrete block and steel house. Environmental degradation and destruction of environmental, what you would call architect. You can't repair it. Some of them are irreparable. So when you cut down a mountainside, man can't make it back. $40 million, which is the cost now of a small 2-bedroom apartment. And forgive me for drawing that analogy, but that is really what it is. Can't repair the damage to the mountains. And we are all for development. We are for development, but we are saying that when you do development, you need to fit within the space that is there. So and much of the mountains and hillsides out in Portland are unstable the moment you cut it. Same for Junction St. Mary. There are some of those hillsides that you have to secure by leaving them, probably planting grass and other vegetation to hold them. You can't go in there and cut it down because as a human being, you cannot build it back. I think Mr. Matt wants to add.
Just want to endorse what the fellow was saying. The analogy drew the cost of the apartment is actually real because there are some 2-bedroom apartments now going up in Kingston which cost more than the $40 million which is the bond.
And Richie,
yes,
that $40 million bond. What is that? What is that? How does that repair damage to a mountainside? A landmark from my eyes were down at my ankle. But what people like us at OPD find even more alarming is just the very thought that you could look at this mountain, this beautiful mountain that has stood the test of time in terms of its own value, in terms of the animals and species and caves that live there. How do you get it in your head that you could cut it down? We have a difficulty understanding that. We have a real difficulty wrapping that around our head.
Some would say economic priorities, but then even so.
You see, economic priorities, Richie, are very important. Very, very important. And we support all efforts to identify economic priority. We have one of our stakeholders who will tell you, and she has done the math, and I accept that math that she has done because we hear Mr. Mack is good at it, but there were some of us here might be able to manage it. She is saying that if they're to follow and adhere strictly to the 72 additional conditions imposed by NRC, that they will not make the returns, whether in taxes, that they were told that they will pay to government. So we too challenge that economic priority to cut down that mountain. Our view, that mountain forms an important part of this country and is to be left alone.
Yes. We've heard you loud and clear. And on that note, we want to thank you both for your deliberations and the information you shared this morning. We thank the Public Defender, Arlene Harrison Henry, and the Deputy Public Defender, Mr. Herbert McKenzie, for sharing space with us this morning in Constitutionally Speaking, which is a sponsored feature by the Office of the Public Defender. Today we looked at mining in Jamaica's protected areas. I wish you both a wonderful day, and we look forward to being with you again come next Thursday.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you.
Much appreciated. All right, that was Constitutionally Speaking. If you are on IG, I'm going to share with you some information. Just yesterday, this came out. You can actually start making money from Instagram now. Yep, Instagram has announced that they have a subscriptions feature, and that feature, which they made known yesterday, will allow users access to exclusive stories and lives. Plus, they'll add a purple badge next to their name that's visible to the creators, and you can actually start making money. It's a part of a limited test that's rolling out to just about 10 creator accounts presently, and creators can charge somewhere between $99 and $99 US. So you can actually monetize what you're doing, especially for those persons who put wonderful, information out on IG. And Meta is pledging that they will not take any share of the new revenue stream for at least a year. So you content creators, you might want to capitalize on this development before that 1 year comes, because after that, they're not guaranteeing that they're not going to take a percentage. So Instagram has introduced this subscriptions feature. Came out yesterday. You can actually monetize the content that you're putting out on IG. Make some money in US dollar terms. I guess it's a way that they're trying to compete with like TikTok and other such portals to make sure that people stay with them.
Richie B, the party master, on Up and Go, The Bridge, 99 FM.